Hi, good morning, guys, and welcome to Unique Not Different with me, Shamla. And today I have a very special guest that I'm excited about. His name is Subhash Jamuna, and recently he has made headlines in various national newspapers for his accomplishment. He has cerebral palsy, happened to have cerebral palsy, and he recently became an attorney. But for me, it's not that. It's a process that I read that is incredible. So today I actually have Subhash to share his story. So good morning, Subhash. How are you?
Good morning, Shamala. Great to be here, and morning to your viewers. I'm good. I'm good.
Perfect. So my first question actually is how does it feel to share this story knowing that you have cerebral palsy? I read that you rely on your mother, physically, and to come out and after 15 years of going through this journey now to share your story with others and have the confidence to share this story as a young adult.
Yeah. Well, I can't only give thanks to my mother. I have to give thanks to both my parents. I'm 38 now. This has been like a 15-year journey. It's like a marathon, honestly, from my perspective. And I have to give thanks because, usually parents would, shelter their children who have these kind of abilities, but not my parents. I remember growing up, my parents never treated me differently from any other children. I remember I was doing an interview and I told them, my dad treated me normally. I go to school normally. If I have to go up the stairs or any kind of ramps or anywhere, it didn't have these special ramps for you to go up the stairs or anything. So what he would tell me is, you have to walk up the stairs, you have to find a way. So now, childhood into adulthood, I going all over Trinidad, and I have to figure out ways to go up ramps, sidewalks, things like that. It gets a little harder with time, but you always have that implemented in your mind. So, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right. So in terms of schooling, right?
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you had to go upstairs and your father encouraged you that, okay, you have to do it.
You have to.
So that suggested that you went to a mainstream school, right? In Trinidad, right? And you have, is it moderate or severe cerebral palsy? And with that, I want to ask, how was the schooling like in terms of your peers and access?
Okay, so my high school years was a little difficult for me. I was slow academically. So it was a bit frustrating. I went to St. George's College. So I went to a very prestigious school. I loved it. I enjoyed my years. But looking back, I knew I struggled academically. And, as a student with cerebral palsy, and you're trying to keep up with students, you develop self-esteem issues because you are trying to keep up with the class, and you're falling behind. So I had to repeat my CXC examinations, and I had to go to other schools to repeat and do better in my grades, and try to move on.
So knowing that you had to repeat, right? Yeah. And I know that if people have this mentality that repeating is something bad, and they are ingrained in children that when you repeat is like a failure and so on, right? Which is wrong, which is not right. You understand? But for you decided to develop self-esteem issue.
Yeah.
But you had to repeat. What type of confidence did your parents instill in you, and what type of confidence you went saying, okay, I want to repeat?
I'm glad you asked that question, because when I was going through these issues, as a kid, I had my father. He always saw something in me. I didn't see it at that time, but he saw something in me that I didn't see. The way how I used to articulate myself. I was a well-read student. I never used to pick up my books to study, but I used to pick up the encyclopedias to read,
Yeah.
for fun, not for learning, just for fun. And
Mhm.
this is how I learn things, different things. I grew up in a time before the internet, so I grew up in the 90s before they had dial-up and broadbands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I used to pick up my brothers and them old encyclopedias and read it for fun. You know, my I always love these TV shows where you try to gain knowledge. One of my favorite shows is like Jeopardy. I love Jeopardy. Jeopardy is religion for me. I
Right.
love to learn from bright people. I always had it, but I always struggling to get the grades. So when I really started to study, to really focus, when I reached around 18, 19 years,
Okay.
I decided, people believe in me. I am going to settle down now. I'm going to focus and I'm going to study. They believe in me. They see something. So maybe that's a key to move forward and strive to do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of a pivotal, I guess a pivotal milestone,
Yeah.
right, in your journey. Who, what was the pivotal turning point for you in saying that, I had to repeat, and then I
Yeah.
had to do my LLB,
Yeah.
over, something, and then what was the pivotal point to say, you know what, this time I'm going to do it,
That's
and
Yeah,
yeah.
that was exactly when I turned about 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
My father introduced me to law. He never forced it onto me, but he introduced it to me. And my cousin, too, is a practicing attorney for the last 19 years. She
Mm-hmm.
saw it as well. And they encouraged me. They never forced it on me. They just introduced it to me. And I could have easily tell them, something, guys, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I could have do it. I went and I investigated different schools, to start the A-level process because I needed another A-level to do the LLB. So I looked at other schools and I went and I went and signed up and easy. I just went and do the programs.
So, like now on, right now that you are an official attorney,
Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you.
What now? Because we still way behind in terms
Yeah,
of access. I know the court system's not accessible, etc.
mhm,
Right?
yeah.
So what would you like to do now in terms of practicing what you rightfully achieved?
Right now, I'm still trying to make up my mind. I'm leaning towards civil law. I have to look at my strengths. I know I have certain areas I need to work on, like so I enjoy civil law more. So I would like think, so and then when it comes to the accessibility part, I think Trinidad is slowly changing the culture of, I think they understand that we have differently abled um, persons living in our society, because it's not only people with cerebral palsy. You have to look at the elderly. After a while they will lose they'll lose the ability to walk and they will need wheelchairs and stuff like that. Once a man, twice a child.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
you'll lose your ability. So more and more you will need these ramps and elevators in all these buildings. But again, it has to do with money, financial you know um help, to
Yeah.
get these projects on the road, on the ground.
So before we actually run out of time, right?
Sure.
I want you to give Trinidad and Tobago any advice, especially knowing your process and your journey. What advice would you give to parents, especially, and children who going through schooling and not too sure what they want to do,
Yeah.
because it's not about the end result, really, the process of get you to your end result and what process you want, right? So what advice would you like to
The
give.
best advice I could give to parents and students is,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope they take heed of this, is life is not a race. Success doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And this has to do with building of character and everything like that. It doesn't happen, helter skelter. It takes time. And parents, you need to love and support your children. That is the only way they will learn and they will grow as people. So that is the best advice I could give people at this moment. And we need it right now. We need a lot of patience because of what's going on in the country with COVID and things like that. We will get over this. It's hard. I know it's very difficult, but slowly but surely we'll get out of this, and we'll prevail.
That is so
Yeah.
fantastic. That is incredible advice.
Yeah.
Subhash, I want to say thank you so much for, coming and sharing your story. It
Yeah.
is incredible. And
Thank you.
I
Thank
know
you for having me.
I wish you the best in your civil. My pleasure. I
Yeah.
wish you the best in pursuing your civil, specializing in civil.
Yeah.
And I really hope that you get to practice,
Yeah.
and do what you have to do. And
Yeah.
just show that being a person with a disability, being somebody who functions differently, you
Mhm.
could still live a sustainable life
Yeah.
right here and prove to anybody, because you would see persons like normal, quote unquote, normal persons standing, walking,
Yeah.
very depressed and so on.
Yeah.
So it is people like us will have to show that, you know what, we could do anything, so you could do anything. Yes, Subhash, so thank you so much. And with that being said, guys, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to this week's segment of Unique and Different. Until next week, as I always say, be good, do good. Bye, guys. Bye, Subhash, and thank you again.
Thank you again.